Okay, let's get started. Today is 18th of May. I'll start with Bitcoin at 4 hours. Let's say it's 4 hours. So now all the hard work is done, right? So, but quick recap, right? So we talked about this channel and we talked about this extended channel, right? You see, this extended channel actually played role there. And in this consolidation, it didn't enter this one. Remember, we were here last time on this Saturday somewhere here, and we said the price hasn't breached this level, not entered, and that is something good. Here also there was a bounce and then dip, but not deep enough, which would break below. So this is good. And when I saw this candle, I said this is it, right? So this is the decisive candle, I would say, because here it broke this extended channel, and that gave a signal that no, this is something positive. Now with the second candle was of cherry on the cake kind of situation here. It closed about this rejection point, and which was very positive, about 66K. Of course, there was some consolidation dip and then bounce, and this again closure. Now it is consolidating on this peak if you look at it. So initially this consolidation was on this one. This consolidation is happening on this one and this one. So naturally, when it goes up, it has to face all the resistance from the past. Makes sense, right? So if this is broken, we know that this is the region where it is going to consolidate. It's not going to break above just like that, because if you look at it, this was the point of rejection, this is the point of rejection, all this. So this is very dense area, the upper part. But I wouldn't mind, even if it takes time over there, I don't mind, because that's not a point of concern. As I mentioned earlier, if it consolidates here for longer, that would be concerning, because then the pressure would be on the downside. If it consolidates here without breaking, then that's positive. It's just point of, I mean, matter of time before it breaks above. So once it settles above 68K, 69K, as I said earlier, to be conservative, then I think then it will look for the higher level. And the higher level is what? 90K, 100K kind of a range, right? So firstly, this was the decisive moment, and then this is very positive. Now, of course, we would not like it to fail from here and return back to this level. That would be bad, really bad, if that happens. So if it does something like that, just for now, hypothetical scenario, because you know that we always cover both the scenarios, bearish and bullish. So this is a bearish scenario where it comes down to this, then that I would say that indicates that it wants to go down further, right? And when it happens, we'll see, because then we have to see how it behaves over here. So we don't have to conclude on even new level on the downside, even if it comes down, because there are a lot of things to be considered analysis point of view. So for now, we can consider just as a scenario, hypothetical scenario, that we have to be watchful only if it comes down to 61K range again. Okay. Otherwise, this is totally fine. And the next, so of course, I think this consolidation phase is it got extended. So everything has to be moved on the. I think this is more or less correct. Just we are adjusting the timeline, which is fine, because when what happens is, as I explained earlier, that one correction changes the timeline, but the level do not change. Only the x-axis change, and that's what we have to adjust, which is totally fine. And this is normal actually. The things are not set in stone like this. The prices are set in stone, but the timing is not. You have to tune the timing aspect. Okay, what else should I cover? So if let me go one day and we'll zoom out. 4 hour we have covered. Let's look at one day. So one day, this was awesome, right? This was amazing candle. And this channel is broken. So I think we can clear up. Right now it's cluttering. We don't need it. I would say the blue line is also not needed. I don't want to add any object, to be honest. Um, I would just probably I'll add the zone which is going to give the next, I would say, tough time. Tough time, not negative sense, but kind of resistance. So this is very hard to break. But I'm not saying don't try to read the line. I mean, don't try to read between the lines. I didn't mean it cannot. Means this is tough one. That's what I mean. Anyway, that's the next thing, right? So what else? So this is a lower zone. This is the upper zone within this consolidation range. And I think that this is good enough. I don't see anything major to be updated here on one day, to be honest. This is looking awesome. Let's look at weekly. Okay. As we, this is a little wider. That's it. In fact, if we move on the right, it's not much. Yeah, so I think this is much, this is as expected. This candle is awesome. Look at this. This is nice, solid candle. I think let me hide all these drawings. So this was a bit dicey. Means there was candle, good candle. Of course, this is very decisive. This bounce from 56K. Remember, everybody was so worried that it is going to go below 50K and all. Most, not everybody, but so many, most of them were looking for, and so many people were talking about triple top and all that, and end of the bull run and so much. Um, Fundamentally, they're coming from fundamental that nothing is rosy. The interest rates are still high. There is no talk about the rate cut. There is no talk. I mean, there is no sign of inflation going down, um, and so many other factors they were considering. But the fun part is the technical analysis. I love it because it sees something that fundamental analysts do not see. I often find their FA is delayed in they have lag basically. They understand later. Even if it is stopped, they understand later. And situation like this, they call out. I mean, it was a false call out. So that's what happens. When so this look at the bounce. This bounce actually turned everything into green and closed above this closing. And then there was this was a little concerning for sure. But when it retraces, we had to see how deep it retraces. This is important, and they know that how deep it could go and all that stuff. And we determine that if it is really threatening. This was not threatening. And now this is awesome. This is not just closing above the prior candle, even prior to prior, and even before that, and even before that. Look at that. So this 1 week of price action is actually planning to actually close above all this last 4 weeks of opening, or we can say last. This is the April, April month's closing, right? So which is 65,777 on Coinbase. So right now it is above that, and that's a good news. That's a very good news, right? So once it breaks above 68K and as a conservative level is 69K, that means it wants to go higher. as simple as that, right? So maybe next week, if I had to assess, then next week it could be there, assuming there is no bad news next week. As I said, when I talk about timing, we have to assume things that there is no disruption, because as one bad news, one correction changes the timeline. So I'm not a big fan of predicting timeline, though I we can. There's no harm in doing it, but probability of being right is low, and the reason is simple, that one correction can delay things, right? But from a big scheme point of view, the destiny from price level point of view, there is not much of a change, right? I think I covered last week that the whole entire drop, this was not going to go down. This was not a planned drop or bear trend. This was more like enforced one. Why? Because the Fed rate, the interest rate had gone up. That's why. So certain things like that. This was also not a planned drop, but more of a COVID related drop. This drop was also not a planned drop, right? More over FTX. So bad situation sometimes can be for a week, some situation can be for a month or so, and some situation like this, which is inflation related, is for, could be for multiple weeks or months. So it depends on how severe the situation is or event is. It adds up delay. I think this is a very important point to be made. So all the bear cycles, um, in now I can say earlier phases after, before 2018, there was no fundamentals which are driving, but post, I think once it's listed in CME in December 2017, I believe that it started following stock market, and more as more and more Wall Street players and other mainstream players started getting into this. So now Bitcoin is tied up with all the macro economics and, mainstream events, so to speak. It's not in isolation. That's why. So if there is no negative news in coming days or weeks, this has to go up. And this is very easy actually. Now, if you do we have, I think this is very, let me find another layout. Yeah, this is a good one. Look at that. So last time, this is a very simple layout I had made. If you look at this one, I explained this, so I don't want to cover it. This was perfect finding. And then this white line is representing the current trend. Remember, from a TA point of view, the trend changes. The earlier trend was like this. So this is a beautiful thing that you will observe. This is tricky one, actually. It had this angle, and this was very annoying one. Most of the people actually called out. So when you draw trend, you get the visual understanding of what trend is doing in terms of its strength. Okay. uh, but some people think that when it breaks like this, it break the trend, means the trend is reversing. But this is not how it is. Trend line do not determine whether the trend is reversed or not. To me, trend line is used to understand the pace of the trend, right? So when let me explain you with some more example. Okay, I think this is the best example. So firstly, what you see is this is a hyperbolic. Look at this one. This is how it is. Makes sense. Now, when you understand, so this is, let's say, future. We don't know what is going to happen. So how it starts, right? This is like horizontal consolidation, right? Double, triple, whatever number of bottom you want to call, and then starts. And this is where it confirms that it wants to go up. This candle confirmed that it wants to go up. And of course, this is a kind of a retest of this resistance, right? So we can say that this is where it give a signal. Hmm. I'm talking about very primitive, basic, basic thing about DA, just to get your eyesight set. And then what happen is, what you observe is, when you use this line, this is the angle, let's say 5-degree angle. And then what you see is 29-degree angle. Then you see, okay, 27-degree angle, for example, more or less the same. But then it got steeper for sure, right? 32, 37, and so on. Now you can figure out very easily. So the trend line actually tells you that it is accelerating. In short, it is having the momentum. The momentum is rising. And when you draw this kind of trend line from the lows, it gives you that idea, that momentum. Of course, one cannot say using the trend line, this is over yet, over here. Okay. There are many things to be considered. And you cannot say from here as well. And there is no way to tell even from here that this is the all-time high. There is no way to know from the trend line. There are other ways to know. Okay. So because this could have actually gone even steeper and hit the higher level, some higher level, because why not? It could have happened, right? It didn't happen, but it could have happened. It could have hit 30K and so on. So when it is here, there is absolutely no way to tell. Even if it is here, it is very hard. But then if it breaks a certain level, then you can figure out. So this is how it works. So a little bit about trend line, basic stuff. So what we see here is, if I now draw like this. So when you draw this, you call out downtrend, then that's a mistake, but that's a rookie mistake. And I don't blame them. But I'm telling you that this is not how it is to be done. So I would do this one 29-degree, and then much steeper actually. All of a sudden, didn't go in 30s. It tells that it is in hurry. People are impatient. But let me tell you, this this move is actually much more stronger than what we had seen in 2016-17 bull run. This is like, it didn't even consolidate it over here like this at 20s or 15s. It actually mid 20s and then mid 40s, which is extremely fast. So what we saw here is extremely fast. And this one, even so, it didn't even go down. So let's say if it would have gone down further, let's say in 45K, then we could have said, okay, you know what, this is the trend, like the mid 30s. Then also it doesn't break the trend, mid 20s, mid 30s, and then we can say, okay, after hitting this level, probably it will go for mid 40s or 50 kind of level. And then there are segments you can think, because now you have seen what happened in 2016-17, right? You understand what I mean. So in summary, I would say this: if somebody is getting bored, there is a lesson when you compare. This is extremely strong trend. Okay. So if somebody is complaining, I don't know on what basis that person is complaining. That person is in La La Land or Dreamland. He doesn't know what he's talking about, because this is extremely strong trend. And we can say that it has recovered the loss. And with this candle, it is actually extremely bullish. And if you want, you can actually extrapolate and say we would not know exact degree, but we can say it is going to be steeper. let's say, let's assume that it is greater than 50% somewhere. So don't stick to this number, okay? This is just theoretical because nobody knows it. And the idea is this has to be stronger, and we would like this to be, you know, parabolic like this one. We would like to see this kind of a move. Why not? You see? So another segment correction and probably another segment, and that is December end. So what if we hit 300K, 250K, or let's say 200 to 300K by year end? Why not? It is doable. Uh, but don't stick to this number. There is always condition that this is true, because sometimes people remember only what they like. They totally forget the condition behind it. And so I don't want you to just remember what you like it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he said 200 and 300K. He was talking about. Of course, we can project it, but the underlying assumption is this angle has to be maintained. This trend has to be maintained. Then, so if it comes down to this, there's no way we can achieve that number, right? And if it goes below it, then forget about it. Then it's done deal. So every time we have to see this, this is maintained, and that's why I took the 2016, 2017 move for your reference. Again, I'm not trying to say, when I relate, sometimes the mind is so tricky. The mind says, oh, because we related, now we are talking about replication of that. No, it's not like that. History doesn't repeat. History might rhyme, but not necessarily repeat. So when I refer a reference, it's just a reference point. It doesn't mean that we are going to see similar move like this and go to 1 million. Who knows? It may hit 2 million. Who cares? Point is, we have, what we have to do is we have to assess every week the way we do and see how it is making progress. So the focus should be on the progress, the focus should be on weakness as and when it comes, and then focus has to be on the support, because not all supports are critical support, and so on. This is the most scientific way to do the technical analysis in my experience, and this is easy actually. People complicate a lot sometimes. This is very easy, but sometimes easy things people don't like it. People like hard thing. If you climb the Mount Everest, then you think that you actually achieved something because it's hard. The ego, you know helps that, okay, I achieved, only few people can achieve. So if things are very simple, we take it for granted. So but the part is the things should be simple to understand. But yeah, that's what I heard, that if there is extremely complicated analysis, then people appreciate, oh, that this is like very intellectual analysis. But to be honest, when you understand more and more, the analysis becomes simpler and simpler. Same thing with trading. The strategy becomes simpler and simpler. You might start with 10, 20, 30 rules. You end up with only handful of rules ultimately. And that's because you learn a lot out of it, and you simplify, consolidate your set of rules. And that should be the goal for everybody. Everybody would be at different level in terms of understanding and skill level, but that's a journey, and that one should keep in mind that how one could progress. So the measure of progress is how simple you can make things, how simplify, in terms of explanation, in terms of understanding, right? So more it becomes simpler. You can assume that more you're learning. This is how I see. It has to be simple, has to be simpler and simpler. Okay. Um, what else? This is so simple actually. that sometime I actually talk and explain more, but the call can be wrapped up in matter of 10 minutes, to be honest. But I talk with some example, analogy, and all that. That's why the call becomes longer. But this is so simple that there is nothing. And yeah. Anyway, so what else? So this weekly looks amazing. So of course, here it's going to spend some time, right? Which makes sense, and then we'll look for higher level. That so everything looks awesome. Let's look at DXY. Okay, DXY. In this flavor, we have two flavors in terms of charts. It is going down, so it is following this blue segment. We have to remember, we have to retune it. This time we don't have to tune, but this is good. There could be some bounce, and then we would like to see going down. It might create head and shoulder, to be honest. If it creates this segment, it might create this, and this becomes head and shoulder, comes to the neckline and breaks down. That would be lovely. In fact, this is another head and shoulder. Like this is like four shoulders. I'm not being funny, but these are like two left shoulder. This is head, and there could be another. So this is like second right shoulder. If it goes down like this, so funny, like example, something like that, and then that would be lovely. This could be smaller. So this could be like this, and then goes down. So this could be a large head and shoulder. The whole entire is shoulder, head, shoulder. That we, yeah, looks like so. If it comes down to this, then it will become more obvious. But still not bad. Shaping up in that direction. So this is good news. Another good news that because we said pressure pressure on BTC above this line, and we saw pressure on BTC because it went up, but now it is going down. This it closed below this. We would like it to see, and I think you can see the head and shoulder at two levels, to be honest. Actually, this is shoulder on the left hand side. If it comes down, this becomes head, and then a bounce becomes right shoulder and then goes down. So this is a local pattern. And then if we consider whole entire consolidation, especially from here, not from here, but here, then there's another bigger one, parent one. So you can say this is a potentially a child one. Why I'm saying potentially? Because when the head is being formed, we cannot conclude. The right shoulder has to be formed and touch this line. Then only we can say this is head and shoulder. Then this becomes the neckline. And then we can say it go down from here and so on. So if it comes down to this, then the parent would come. If it comes down to this, then the child would complete, and so on. Sorry, here and here. So if I go with this assumption or pattern, I would say until June end, it is going to be in this range. If I had to follow this pattern, and this is what we do as a technical analyst, we try to see how it is shaping up and then say, okay, now it could go down, which would take, let's say, whole entire May, right? And then a bounce and then another dip, and then that would be June, and then that will be a decisive point where it will go down further and so on. But if pattern doesn't realize and goes up, then it goes up in month of July or so. So that means this month is bullish, June month is likely to be bullish, and beyond that we don't know. How about that? It makes sense. This is more pragmatic and practical in my point of view. And this is based on one pattern we take and then try to see, because there's so many patterns we could think of. We have to take one of them which is highly probable, and then try to see how it will progress and angle of the wave and so on. We can try to predict, or I would say assess not predict, but assess. I don't like the word predict. Assess the potential or probable timeline. Okay, so I think you got this one too. So we have two flavors. So probably assumed you have good understanding. And anytime it doesn't follow this and starts going up, that means it's risk, potential risk, right? Because that means it doesn't want to go down and goes up. And especially if it goes above this, then that's bad news. Totally bad news. Right? As and when it happens, just an alternative scenario that is not the main scenario, but we always talk about alternative scenario. Dominance, let's look at dominance. This is not giving up. Bitcoin is not giving up, buddy. It is not giving up. But at the same time, I still believe that it is not easy. I don't know. I can say at this moment that right now Bitcoin dominance is not going down. Okay. So maybe my arrow probably, oops, this arrow could be like this angle point of view where it goes up and then goes down like this. But I think it's 50-50 case probability wise because this candle has changed everything. But I'm not too keen because I have this channel. Uh, Internally, it's very hard to predict this one, to be honest. But if it breaks below this channel, so I should not use this. I would say if this is broken, then big boost for the alts, larger scale. Otherwise, the liquidity is going to be in Bitcoin and of course some top coins. But otherwise, yeah. So we'll have to wait and watch, in short. I still believe that it is unlikely to make higher high from here, but I cannot say for sure because of this candle now. So we have to keep the channel in mind where the channel and maybe this high and this line becomes the point of decision, so to speak, So for now, let's keep it that way. What else? I think this is enough on Bitcoin and reference data because we covered everything we wanted to. Let's start looking at these coins. The alts, there's not enough momentum, we can say, but it's surviving. So it is another low, but there's no new low. Everything is happening within this big giant drop. So we can say this is still in surviving mode. This is hopeful candle. This is hopeful candle, right? This is bad candle, bad one. This is hopeful candle. So we are still in hopeful candle. About 10 is where we can say APT wants to go up. This is not confirmation for sure. It doesn't mean that it's going to die. Some mind tries to say if it is not black, it's white. No, it's not like that. There's gray shade in between. Okay, so when I say this is not the level where we can confirm, do not think that means it's going to go down. Okay, that means it has to spend more time, and how it progresses within that time will tell us. Okay, so the right way to see is 10, about 10 is upside, and below this new low is downside. And in between, I don't know. And it's okay. Sometimes, our mind doesn't want to accept that we don't know anything. That's if you look at it in general, not on this one, in general, uh, if you ask someone, tell me how many people have you met who said, I don't know. Ask any question, even tough question. Let's say you ask question to someone who has no knowledge. Very few people will tell you, I don't know. In first send, I'm not saying later on. First, they'll try to give you some answer. most of the people, not all, of course, but that's the tendency. And if you talk about something general, even if you ask about economy, they'll say something, right? So very few people will say, I don't know. And I don't know has immense clarity, actually. The person who says, I don't know, that means that person has absolute clarity. When do not, I don't believe that when someone says, I don't know, means that person is confused. Confusion is not the reason all that always. He has clarity, I don't know. Okay, that's a clarity. So here, when I say we don't know, I think this is out of clarity because we have this boundary, and the boundary has to be cleared on one of the sides. Then we can say that which side it has to go. So we have clarity that it hasn't broken the higher level and the lower level. That's why we can say, I don't know. So it's a positive thing. This is good one. BCH, good one. It wants to go up. Very simple. BSV wants to go up. This is good one. Good sign. Doge, not bad. If it comes down to 0.175 or something out of this, then I would say good one. Ethereum, not bad. I would like Ethereum to be at 3333, four threes. Then it would. So basically, I would like it to be back above this white trend line in short, right? 3333 would give. So another 10% would. But this, by no mean I'm saying this is bad. Okay. I'm little more hard work to be done for us to feel good. That's what I mean. FET not bad. It's flat. It's flat. Absolutely nothing. So this is good. This is a hopeful. I don't know, hopeful. I don't know, hopeful. That kind of mindset. This is the same thing, but little on descending side. This is not no different than APT. If you look at APT, many times I say that there's so many coins. I don't care. When you open APT, forget about all this, but look at the nature. I'll open this one. You'll understand what I mean. Look at this candle, and then five candle. And look at this one, Filecoin, right? This candle, and five coin. How it is different? It is the same, ditto. So there are so many coins, but not all coins are different actually. You can actually group in few categories from tier point of view. So that's why some people love this coin. I said, forget about it. There's so many coins like that, and you don't have to actually love any coin. These are all charts. You can actually trade or invest on charts. This is awesome. It's up by 12%. FTM is actually in good mood. This is awesome. So this is like Bitcoin said, I don't want to go down, I want to go up. This is a coin said, okay, enough. I'm going up. Other might join later on. So the timing could be different, as I said. Every week I say. So FTM has announced that I won't go down. Enough of consolidation, going up. See, when you understand from this point of view, you don't care really the resistance and all, right? You just care support level. This is the point I've been making. Purposefully, I remove the resistance. It's not that I cannot offer you. But once I give resistance, you think that is the goal. That is not the goal. Market doesn't have goal. There is no target. Market doesn't have targets. Okay. Its market is not aiming for anything because the market is people who are trading it. There's no goal. You have to just focus on the weakness and support. That's it. So when it is making progress, you have to just see which one is critical. We highlighted and we raised the critical level. Earlier, the critical level was somewhere here. Now the critical level has been raised. When it makes a progress on the upside, the critical level will go up and so on. This is how it is. Remember, this was the level we said it is a required level. When this broke out, we said the required level was met. When it came down, it didn't break below this green line, right? And then it consolidated. Now it's going up. So this is how it works. Don't bother about resistance. Those resistance are just a checkpoint. INJ holding up like other coins, nothing more to add. Yeah, big large candle, everything, all these five candles are within it, like similar thing. And similarly, we would like to see it somewhere here, 30 plus, you know, like Ethereum. Gas is looking good. Last week it was good. Now this is holding up. So this is good. It doesn't want to go down. Link is awesome. Similar to FTM, it announced it doesn't want to go down. Remember, I didn't draw the right shoulder. Know that this looks like left shoulder. This looks like right head, but I don't have the arch. It's not that I forgot, as I mentioned earlier, right? It has to circle like arch like this and come back. When it does, then we can actually put an arch there and say this is head and shoulder, and that would be bad. If it comes, let's say goes up, fails to break about this, comes down, touches this becomes the neckline, then we can say this is going down, and it could go down up to S1. It goes up, pattern fails. We don't want to tag this with head and shoulder. No, we cannot. And this is a common mistake people do. It is important that when you call out a pattern, RNDR, this particular price action is bit tricky after this amazing last 2 weeks. So you can say that it is actually a step ahead in the market. No other coin started moving up at this phase. RNDR was the first one, decisive one. For example, the decisive action we saw from Link was is from this week. Decisive action from CAS was last week, and RNDR had actually did that 2 weeks ago. So this one is in line, not in line with others, simply because it has different stage. It is different in terms of timeline. So this is correcting, and maybe the next week it'll just go up, or maybe it'll go down a little more and then go up, right? So that's totally fine. Even if it not necessarily it has to go down, but I'm not worried about it. That's what I mean. I have absolutely no concern about RNDR. Even if it comes down a little more, I don't care. So again, this I didn't draw like this. I drawn this one for purpose, just for illustration that it's going up, right? But this is the checkpoint. So this chart is very similar, if not the same, of course, to Link. I'm just giving you examples so you can relate how they are connected or similarities, flavors point of view. Even if you actually screen through 100 of coin, you end up with only 4 5 patterns. That's the reality. So you think that we have only 15 coins? That's a mistake. There are 100 plus coins representing actually 15 coins. This is amazing. This is another coin which says, forget about downside move, I'm going up. So simple. TIA is saying I want to go up. So this is positive, but very same thing. 5 candles, green, red, green, kind of, APT like candle, file like candle. And yeah, so if it starts going up, this offers opportunity, of course. Why? Because then it is not something like RNDR, which is like at this stage, it is like starting up something from a severe downside move. This was opportunity, but this is second opportunity like that. And opportunities always come with pain like this. but one has to identify, right? And sometimes people have to get out also and re-enter and so many things, right? But it's mm, when someone tries to enter after pump is, I'm not saying late, but that means it's further away from the support. That means the risk is higher. When it is closer to the support, the risk is lower because the point of exit is closer. That's why. Okay, I think I covered a lot. That's it. I think this is looking good. For now, everything looks cool. We'll see next week. I hope the next week goes well, and then get another boost across the board, and then I think. But everything looks good at this moment. So I'll close here, and you can always ask me a question if anything is not clear. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.